Hey everybody, Pete A. Turner coming at you here, asking you to check out my technology podcast called Popping the Bubble. There's no E on the end of bubble, B-U-B-B-L. Sandra Ponce de Leon and I, we get in and we demystify what's going on in the Silicon Valley. You want to know where we're headed? Come check us out.
This is Mick Gillette.
This is Jay Moore.
This is Greg Proops.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Nate Boyer.
This is Hilliard Guest.
This is Nathan
This
East.
is Rob Bell.
This is J.R. Robinson.
This is Dan Stone.
This is Dr. Bob Greenberg.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, I'm Mark Valley.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
And now, the Break It Down Show with John Leon Guerrero, Mark Valley, and Pete A. Turner.
It's Christmas time.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd catch you guys up. Also, Pete and I get to hang out together, and right this moment, we're not doing anything.
That's right.
And that's rare.
That's rare.
We also had a wonderful meal, and it was soup.
It was so good.
Yeah. So it's the holiday season, and we just want to
check in with you guys.
Yeah, because what we've done is you have moved south.
I moved south.
And I have retained my abode here north. And we're attacking from north and south.
And we're getting a lot of guests. A lot. I mean, like, we're considering having to go 3 times a week for shows now.
I think one of the things that people are seeing or hearing or experiencing is that we're doing more and more shows without both of us.
Yeah.
Which, is great. Although it's not, I don't think it's what we envisioned.
But I don't think it's bad either, though.
No, it's not bad. I guess I'm just pining for the days when it was just like, when we have a show, we get together and we go, and
yeah,
that's always fun.
It is.
But nowadays, there are shows that I capture that are up here while you're down there and vice versa.
Right.
And you have access to guests down there that I don't and vice versa.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean, you missed my conversations with Jeff Campitelli.
Right.
That you would have loved.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
He's a great guy, and we had a great time, and we drank beer and ate tacos.
Yeah, those are good shows when we get to drink beers and eat tacos. Mm-hmm. And, we're past 200 shows. We got to celebrate a little bit, but we're quickly moving on. And there are so many different people that we want to talk to again from the 200, and tons of people that, it's never a problem of guests. And actually, I guess talking to the audience a little bit, we always want to hear what you guys think when you have a guest you want to recommend. And we want to try to accommodate those things. Certainly don't take it personally if we don't do it. Know that just we have so many people that we're already talking to. It's tough to figure out where all the stories fit together. And that's not your failing. It's just ours.
Well, sometimes it's practical too.
Yeah, right.
It just somebody recommends a great guest and we just can't corral.
Yeah.
What is the story or what is the, the person's thing that we're locking in on? And sometimes they're just far enough away
that it makes it tough to get those shows in. So again, don't take it personal. But with that said, today's show that went up today is Beneath June. And if you guys can't appreciate his story, and we got him because Kelly Lowry's like, I got a guy you need to talk to. He's from Haiti, and Haiti resonates with me.
Yeah.
And I'll say this.
Thanks,
too.
Kelly Lowry.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Kelly. One of the things I want to say too about this is as we try to figure out our and this show is not going to be about conflict, but as we try to figure out conflict and we try to train ourselves to go deal with these things, if we can't solve the problem in Haiti reliably and repeatably, how the heck are we going to do it in a zone where it's not just unstable and poor, but it's also deadly.
Right.
So that's a proving ground right there. So, hey, U.S. military, hey, Department of State, here's a lab in your own yard.
Where we can figure out whether or not we actually have the tools to get it right.
Yeah. You want to learn how to partner? Go partner there.
Yep.
Go. If you were going to do language training, one of the things they do is immersion training. Mm-hmm. You go get the basics and you immerse. Well, here we go. You're going to be there's a new unit called an SFAB. It's an advise and assist unit. And if you want to go learn how to revise and assist, go down to Haiti and start making Haiti a little bit better of a place.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Beneath June's story is incredible.
And Haiti could use everybody's help.
It has the most NGOs in it. It's the NGO magnet, and yet it's the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere.
Wow.
Yeah, and among the poorest in the world. And I guess if you measure it right, it's the poorest.
And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of beautiful people down there. There's a beautiful culture down there.
Yeah.
There's a sensibility artistically that comes from struggle that gives it soul, and the inherent beauty that exists in just people having to band together.
Yeah.
Is something that's remarkable. We should try to capture it, and we should try to nurture it.
Yeah.
We should try to get the people on their feet.
One thing that I'm going to try to do is get out there in February. Kelly's doing a trip out there for his annual, because that's part of his passion. It's part of his life and what he does. And so I'm going to work on putting the money together to get out there for, it's just a quick 4-day trip. I think for my birthday, that's what I'm going to ask for. It's just funds to go help out and see what's going on over there, because sometimes I can help out with organizations like that. So we'll see. We will see what happens.
What else we got in development? We got a lot of things in development.
Well, Lakers Reign is out and it's evolving. And I think, the thing that I love about Lakers Reign is even if, because like for anybody else, there's work, right? And putting the show together is work. And there's times when you're just like, I have to do this now. And then when I cue up that Bryce Vine song and the Dodgers stadium announcer comes in and starts talking, I get stoked.
Yeah.
I'll put that podcast intro against anybody's show, and no one's going to go, "Yours sucks." They're going to say, "That's awesome."
Yeah.
So I love doing it. And here's the thing that's cool about the show that I'm excited about is, and I didn't know we were going to take this vein, but as the different announcers come through LA, they're saying yes to coming on the show. And so I get to get the perspective of, we've had Tim Roy from the Warriors.
Yeah.
We had Tim Capstraw from the Nets. I'm about to talk to Craig Ackerman from the Rockets, who just played against the Lakers. So now he's seen the team, and I get to talk to him about
his take of the team.
Yeah, yeah. And so I don't know anybody else doing that on a regular basis.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, the opponent's going to look at the team in a different way.
Right.
They're certainly going to be strategic about what they see. So it's a neat stand. It's a neat slant to get.
Now we just got to get more of your guys' support. If you have friends that are Lakers fans, please, by all means, Lakers Reign. We're on SoundCloud, iTunes, all the places. Just hit me up. Let me know. We'd love to entertain you guys.
Go to all the places.
Yes.
Here's what else I'd like everybody to do. If you haven't already done it, subscribe to the Break It Down show.
Would you?
We don't say that enough.
Yeah, we don't.
Subscribe to the show.
Yeah.
We don't know what you use. Some of you use iTunes, which the new iTunes pisses me off.
Does it really?
Out loud.
Yeah.
It's wacky. There's just things that it does where you go, I'm looking for the obvious thing. Why don't you show me the obvious thing, iTunes?
Yeah.
It's the podcast app, the pink one on the iPhone.
Right.
But find the show and subscribe to it.
We're on Spotify now.
It helps a lot
it does.
when you comment on the show and give it a rating. So please, everybody, go give us a 5-star rating for all the work we do for you.
And don't be bashful about sending us an email. Send us a note.
Yeah.
We will talk to you. Absolutely. And a lot of the guests are curious. What do people think? We want to hear what you guys think. Believe it or not, we do.
Just drop it in the show comments.
Yeah.
We always respond to those.
Always. And if we don't, go, hey, I can respond to my show comment. And then we'll grab you. Because we're not hard to get a hold of. I'm at Pete A. Turner.
I'm at John LG69.
You get us on Twitter right there, and we will talk to you for sure.
Sure. We talk to everybody.
Yeah. So you're working on a new show or two. You got Justice and Perpetual Development, because that's a lot of work.
Man, I had really underestimated how much work it is to do hats off to Raul Vega.
Man.
Because, that is a piece of work that he's put together that's amazing. It's the Rose Drive audio drama. Check that out if you haven't. But it's so much work. Pete and I are sitting across the table from each other, and we are bullshitting with some headsets on.
Yeah.
When it comes to writing all the stuff down, arranging for the performances, really understanding what the plot line is doing, that's what makes it entertaining. Right. But it is work. And
it is a lot of work. And for him, it's a calling card because there's so much of that folio stuff is in there. So, I can appreciate that. And you're working on a couple other things. I'm working on a couple of things. We actually have our podcast that all I really have to do is just find a place, wait. See, it's not as easy as recording, right? You have to where do we want people to go to listen to it? Is it going to be part of the Break It Down show? Is it his own thing? That costs money. And, these things, you don't think about them when you start a podcast. If you want to start a podcast, for sure, reach out and hit us up because we will help guide you through the process.
Yeah.
We want you to create.
There are a lot of people asking questions about starting podcasts on Quora.
Yeah.
And I've answered some of those questions, but some of those questions are bullshit.
Yes.
So,
like what?
I don't know. It's just somebody puts up their bullshit question about podcasts when they're not going to start a podcast.
Yeah.
Everybody, by the way, starts a fucking podcast.
Yes.
I mean, there are celebrities where I was like, oh my God, they're going to have a podcast. It's going to be amazing. And it goes 3 episodes and they bail on it.
Yeah. That's the first goal is to get your podcast out the door, followed closely by get past 13 episodes.
Is 13?
13's okay.
That's the proven.
Right.
Okay, you've either got the hang of this or you've decided
most shows
that you're
fail
out.
within 13.
Sure.
And that doesn't mean that you just stick it out. You have to assess, is this working? Are we figuring, Lakers Rain hasn't got to 13 shows yet.
Yeah.
But it's going to get to 13. And then we'll see what happens from there.
And then we'll see what happens.
We'll see if it survives.
Yeah. Do you remember who was our 13th guest?
No.
Me
Do
neither.
you?
No,
you're pretty good at that too.
Yeah, I know, but some of them stick out and some of them don't. And I don't recall number 13, but it could have been. Oh shoot! It could have been John Noggle.
I was thinking John Noggle. That was going to be my guess.
Yeah, could have been Jim DeFelice.
I think we got Jim DeFelice before that.
Okay, that could very well be. But there were plenty in the first 20. What was Mick Betancourt? He was number 5 or something.
We came out swinging.
Yeah.
We really did.
Yeah. I miss Mick Betancourt. His show was terrific, and it was neat to have the one-on-one perspective of what he was going through right then in his life. And
for sure.
Now that he's not sharing it with all of us, I certainly miss it. So, I don't know. If this gets back to Mick Betancourt somehow, hey, man. We miss hearing from you all the time, and hope you're doing well, and hope and trust that everybody in your life is doing well.
Tara Kemp, Part 2.
Tara Kemp, Part 2 is number 13.
Number 13.
Let me say something about Tara Kemp. I have a confession to make. I love her so much.
Oh my gosh.
I love Tara Kemp so much.
She is a beautiful person.
She is really, truly an artist, and it just represents everything about music and art that is lovable. So I just think she's terrific.
One of the things that's interesting about where we are right now at the show is that the back catalog is so big, it always outperforms the front show, even though the front show gets a ton of downloads. And among the shows that always
that
gets
continue
hits,
to deliver,
Tara Kemp.
Yeah.
It does not stop. People love her for what she, and these are people that know her work.
Yeah.
And they just want more from her. So we probably should go back and get something else from her.
And we haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah, we haven't seen her in a while, for sure. I was going to ask you.
And you live by her.
I do. I live sort of close.
Know.
Yeah. But I mean, close enough that it's not hard to go visit her.
Right.
Yeah. When you look back at the 200 episodes that we have, what do you think is coming up the next 200? We really didn't cover this. What would you say? When we go to look back, right now we're at 203.
Yeah.
What's beyond real for you to go? When we got Positive K really early on also, it was we giggled because we couldn't believe that this was happening and bands were saying yes and people were saying yes and Positive K was not even possible.
Yep.
So what's not even possible right now?
Are you talking about caliber of guests?
You tell me.
You think I don't know what 200 more shows has in store for us. I think we're going to see some pretty good changes. I think we're going to see some. I'm using the presumptive close that we're going to get to 400 shows because there's no reason for us to stop.
Right.
I mean, it takes up some time, but we allow ourselves the opportunity to meet some truly fascinating and heroic individuals.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to stop being a part of my life.
For sure.
It's such an enriching experience, and at the risk of sounding pretty arrogant, I don't mean this with any arrogance, but we often find ourselves in a room where we are the most interesting person because of all the people that we've met.
Yeah.
And I don't do it for that, but I do it for that. I like being interesting for myself. For sure. I'm not the most interesting person.
I gotta sit with
the
myself.
most interested person.
Yeah.
And that has allowed me to sit in the room with, a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people who have fascinated. Rick Marotta.
Boy.
That guy's been a hero of mine for so long. And we went to his house.
Yeah.
And he became a friend. And he is as much or more my hero than he has ever been.
Right.
And he was as kind and generous as you would hope any neighbor would be. And, we had muffins. It's like I'm eating a muffin with Rick Marotta. Those moments in the show are the magic that I think we've captured. And I truly believe that our audience who is with us and has been with us the whole time, if you're an audience member who's been with us the whole time, God bless you.
Yeah.
And right on. And you are our folks.
And thanks for taking some of the weird rides with us.
Yeah, because we've been on some weird rides. You know what? We got to shout out our two, I'm sorry, Mom, our two most ardent listeners. I'm going with number one, Charlie Cook.
Okay.
I'm not going to say he's number one because there's also Tish.
Yeah.
And between Tish and Charlie, they have been such dedicated listeners that they visited us. Like Charlie came to my house. We sat at this table right here.
And we met with Tish 2 miles from here.
We did. We went for a walk and we have personal connections that we've made on the show that have gone beyond the interesting folks that we decided to have as guests, and into the interesting folks who have followed us in their lives and made us a part of their lives. And I appreciate that more than I could ever say. I had, like I said, Charlie's been here, met my family. He brought his daughter here.
Right.
We, broke bread and hang out and we talk all the time. Yeah. And Tish is putting pressure on me for one of the shows that I have in development. And you know what? It feels great. Yeah. To know that, she's encouraging that way. I can't express my gratitude nearly enough. So thank you both. And thank everybody who's listening to us, because they're not the only ones.
They're not the only ones. And there's so many names.
They're just the ones that have crashed our houses.
Well, Phil crashed the Benit show.
Oh, yeah.
He technically was coming to pick up Benit, but still, he knows where my house is. I've met him and Brad at the same time. So I love it. I love it. There are so many new people in my life. I have a lot of friends anyhow. Yeah. Like all throughout the nation, I've got people. And I love that I'm able to get to not only tell the stories from like Stuart Copeland or whoever it's going to be. Sure. And that's like crazy to even say those words. Yeah. But also to share it with you guys, because I really do. I'm interested in what you guys think and the stories that you do want to hear. And if we can inspire you to create in some way, whether it's writing a poem or writing a song or, just going out and hearing music, that can be a form of expression too. Just expressing your love for the person you're with or whatever. Yeah. So I love being able to share those things. And I hope that in the next 200 episodes, if I was to blow my own mind, it's getting past the point where the guests will do it. And that doesn't mean that if we're sitting across from Fidel Castro, my mind's not going to be blown. Mm-hmm. But we talk all the time, like I'm tickled, I'm giddy, I'm super excited, but I'm not surprised because we're able to get people now at this point that
Anybody could say yes. Yeah. We are at the point where we understand that anybody is capable of saying yes.
Anybody.
I think this is probably on a different scale, but I remember when Mark Maron had Barack Obama on his show. The Secret Service tented that neighborhood. Right. And they had snipers up and he had Secret Service detail, and Barack Obama sat in a chair across from him in his garage. Right. And they did the show where he always does the show, in the garage. Right. And at that point, he realized anybody can be on the show.
Anybody.
Yeah. And I think we've realized that as well.
Yep.
And I wouldn't mind having Barack Obama on the show.
I would love to have any of the living presidents on any of the living
Any of them, yes.
It does not matter.
Any of them.
Whatever, if you like them or not, I don't care because I still.
You know, the presidents that I did not like when they were president, I love them now that they're ex-presidents.
And I guarantee you, like, if we had George the Younger on this show,
Yeah.
you would love that guy because everybody that I know that worked with him, for him, or met him all says the same thing.
Yeah.
Just a great guy.
Yeah.
You know, they love who he is, and he's just a social guy. I mean, that was part of how he did what he did.
That is a big part of how he did what he did. And you know, we sort of make fun of him for being so folksy and down home. But that is his charm. And that's exactly how he persuaded people to help him build the kind of country he was trying to build. The ability for somebody as a former president, when they don't have the pressures of that occupation on them anymore, to just allow their charm to live, makes that person, I'm sure, infinitely more happy.
I'm reading Decision Points. That's George W. Bush's book after his presidency. And one of the things he talks about it, a couple points, is understanding his impact on the conversation, him being the president, you know, and saying, I can't just start going into business because I'm the president. I need this person to be candid with me, you know? And so he's aware of his own impact with what he's doing and has the understanding that I'm going to let my charm shine through so this person will put down some guards a little bit and then be the person I need them to be in this very challenging situation. And I would love to have that conversation with him. I don't know if we have time to get his dad. I don't know if we have time to get Jimmy Carter, but heck, I'll send out emails tomorrow. You know, I would love to get those guys. Yeah. There is a chance that we will have someone that walked on the moon inside the next few weeks.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And that's like, this is the thing that the show does now. We have these opportunities. So we haven't put it up yet, but we have a show with a Nobel Peace Prize winner. We're going to have another Nobel winner, a guy that is going to blow your mind with time and space. We are chasing a couple of Pulitzer Prize winners, some actors that you can't be any more celebrated than these guys.
Yeah.
So those things are going to continue to happen for sure. And I wonder what else the show might give to us, because it continues to do that, where we just look at each other and we're just, once again, like,
what in the hell is going on?
I can't believe it. You know, so I thought about this. Meghan Markle, of course, is engaged to Prince Harry. And they're at the Invictus Games, you know, and there's Meghan Markle's mom. And, you know, they have to have that moment where they look at each other and they're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Because Megan's famous in her own right, but this is different. When you're like, how did we get from me doing very well in Canada, having a dream job, to being...
I'm marrying a prince.
Yeah. And then getting it right, like, we're sixth in line.
Right.
Good spot.
Sixth in line means we get all the special seats.
Yep.
We get all the goods. We get all the luxury. Whatever.
There's plenty of things that are going to impact her life that I'm sure she would like to give up, but she also gets to chase her passion. And if her passion is this charity or that charity, she gets to go out and make a difference in the world. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
So I hope we're in that Meghan Markle and mom moment, you know, and we just look at each other and it's like, I never thought this was happening.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. There are plenty of people still left to get, and if we're measuring by that, I know we're going to do a lot of great stuff. Here's one of the things that I love about this show that nobody even knows about, is that I typically will get our guests, and our guests have all been generous about this, but I'll get our guests to leave a little message for somebody.
Yes.
And it started with Gabby Reese.
It did.
Because we tried to call my wife, who's an enormous... She's loved Gabby Reese since Gabby was a model volleyball player, all that stuff. Because my wife is tall and played volleyball and is beautiful and just saw somebody succeeding at the same things that she kind of struggled with in her life. And so I couldn't wait to be at Gabby's house and say, Gabby, can we call my wife? 'Cause
Right.
she thinks you're terrific and we've always followed you. And that's where I found out about you in the first place. And she would love to hear from you. So Gabby said, let me have your, what's her phone number? And Gabby called her from her phone.
Right.
She didn't say, give me your phone. She was like, no, let's call her right here. And so she called her. And of course, she's at work.
Right.
And some strange number pops up and she doesn't. So she didn't answer.
Yeah.
And she was busy at work. So what we did instead was Gabby took my phone and made a video that I could share with her. And she just said, hey, sorry we missed you. And look at your son. Good job. And I'm here with your husband and we're having a great time. And it was just a short message and it was very personal.
Yeah.
And then other guests have followed suit.
Yes.
And sent a personal message to one of our friends.
Yeah.
Just to say, hey, and a lot of it is a little nudge, a little inside joke or whatever. Rick Murata sent a message to Daddy C. He said, hey, Daddy C, I'm here with Filippo. And we are, it was total inside joke. And, I hear Joey's coming along. Hope you guys are doing great. Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
And just getting to send little messages like that.
It's cool.
It is really, really cool. So if you are a guest on our show, I'm going to thank you in advance just for wishing my mom a happy birthday or whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Who are some of your dream guests? Are you willing to divulge any dream guests?
Oh, for sure. I have no problem putting it out there. Obviously, number one dream guest for me, I think, would be you two at this point. I would be over the moon to have them, and I would want to do that show with you or Mark or whoever, but I'm going to need someone to ride shotgun because even though I'm not normally starstruck.
Yeah. That's you too.
That's you too. That's one of my big band. They actually have a new album out. I've not even listened to it. I've been waiting.
Yeah.
I've heard some of the stuff, but obviously if I was to figure out how to get you two, it would be that would be a moment that I wouldn't be sure what to do with it.
If I was in the waiting room of the hospital while my grandchild was being born and you called and said, I got you two outside and we're about to record a podcast, I would say, you guys tell me when the baby's born after I record this podcast. And I would go do that. So I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah.
That's a good dream guest. And the thing is, we might get them.
Yeah. I don't consider it to be impossible, but I know it's not going to be easy. Those guys are busy. But
we have had Mindy Abear on the show. She was amazing.
Right.
We had Stuart Copeland on the show. He was amazing.
Right.
We had all kinds of amazing people on the show who are very, very busy. They take a moment just to breathe, reflect.
Yeah.
And I think we're a good, positive space for everybody to do that reflection and share that reflection. And that's what makes the show tick.
I want to change gears. We haven't been able to get the show. We announced that we were going to do it and we were excited about it, but this is one of those things we've had to learn. It's like, gosh, it's all really hard to do. But the album fight concept is alive on Twitter, but we can't seem to wrap our arms around what the show can be in terms of what it needs to be and what we're able to pull off.
Yeah.
But I do love this idea, and I watch what happens on Twitter, and it's ridiculous how exciting it is. And some of the folks don't quite get it, and that's cool because we're still talking about music and everything. So let me just back up for a second for those of you who aren't aware. We have these album fights on Twitter, and for sure hit me up and I'll include you whenever we do one. And
he is at Peart A. Turner.
At Peart A. Turner on Twitter.
I am at John LG 69.
And we'll take two albums like we did Jagged Little Pill from Alanis Morissette and Peter Gabriel's So. And without pre-planning that fight, these two albums in our heads are about the same. And then they throw down and you realize, good God, these are two great albums. And you get to dig into the quality of the albums.
And other people remind you of things nuggets that you didn't bother to pay too much attention to.
And someone's going to say, about Dave Coulier. Yeah, that's great. And I'm glad you brought that up. But also, Taylor Hawkins is playing drums on this album.
Yep.
And then you start to dig in more. And then you get into, so like, it really, here's what it does for me. You're forced, I'm forced to remove Pete from this equation and listen to this music. Like we were just talking about the fight between Black Sabbath Paranoid and The Clash's debut album, The Clash. Mm-hmm. And you hear them coming at music from the same way. There's fear being sold. There's tension.
Yeah.
But you get them together and it's like, even though they approach from the same angle, they have completely different mechanisms for getting there.
Sure. Wildly different sound, wildly different build up.
Sure.
Techniques like that are just totally different. And it's pretty cool to see the difference between the gender decision making when it comes to those artistic choices, cultural decision making. I mean, those two albums being, a metal album and a punk album and just the little subtle nuances that are buried in there. On top of just the big differences, the broad strokes that are different. Yeah. But you can't deny some of these. Like when, you smash those two albums together, The Clash and Paranoid. Wildly different. Apples and oranges, to say the least. But not really.
Yeah.
And so that's what's cool about it. It's neat to resurrect the enthusiasm for these records too.
Yeah, that's the whole thing is so we were talking about I forget who it was on Twitter, but somebody had talked about how Rush is the greatest band of all time. Uh-huh. And I appreciate that you're a fan of Rush, but that's just not true and not defensible. Because instantly I'm going to throw out Earth, Wind & Fire.
It is neither true nor defensible, and I love every member of Rush.
Oh, for sure.
I love all of their work, and they are totally deserving of all of the accolades, but come on, greatest band who ever. Take it easy.
So this is the part of the conversation where we
plus a guy who makes that statement about Rush, he eats his boogers.
Well, they showed one of the guys showed a video of 100,000 fans in Brazil all jumping in time to 2112 or something.
That's great.
That's great. We're talking about Earth, Wind & Fire. So we're not talking about a band that can't put a crowd together.
Yeah.
And that band.
Or get them to jump.
Yeah. Or get them to jump or get them to fuck later on.
Right.
Because let's be honest. If Geddy Lee's singing about a sailboat,
hey.
And the White Brothers.
Geddy Lee has given me so much joy. But motherfucker has never gotten me laid.
That's right. No one's getting laid. Tom Sawyer.
That's right. And Maurice White.
Yeah.
He has had. Man, Thank you, Mom.
Yeah. So, and it's not, look, who cares ultimately who's better? The important thing is having the conversation. So, one of the conversations was Neil Peart. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. In his specific area, I think everybody would give it to him.
Yep.
I would also say, this is one of the things that's emerged for me since the start of the show. So, I don't fault anybody for not agreeing or not being with me, but guys like Bonham and Moon, who died at 32, are not the best drummers of all time. They're great.
Yeah.
But a lot of what they're hanging their hat on is just potential, where they could have gone. The work that they did, but when those tricks run out, look, no one's talking about Ginger Baker being the greatest drummer. There are some people that consider him great, but let's be honest, the last good album he was on was a long time ago, and there's been a lot of work done since then. So you talk about the greatest drummers of all time, for me, from the way I look at it.
Are you saying that it's the ability to sustain a long and lasting contribution and explore a variety of
if you had
ideas?
This is the way I look at it. If you had to get into a ring, drummer versus drummer, and you're like, all right, let's go. Yeah, you go play Moby Dick. That's great. I'll play Moby Dick too.
Yeah.
And when you run out of tricks because you only got to 32, and the guy that goes from 32 to 42 just knows more things.
Louis Bellson, 60 years prior to that, could play Moby Dick with his feet.
Yeah, exactly. Hal Blaine.
So there's that. You've got a point.
Any song, anytime, anywhere. That's what you got to be able to do.
John Bonham, he had a contribution that was very, very specific, and it was absolutely tremendous and wonderful. But there are a lot of guys who took that contribution and said, I'm going to use this material.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things he should be applauded for.
For sure.
But if he had stuck with us for longer, you're right. The conversation might be different.
It might be.
We may have said, boy, Remember when he came out swinging, and he's kind of hanging now. He's not doing too many things.
So when you look at the ability to get hired by the elite acts in the world, you know, someone like, and I don't know anybody who would be better, and I'm not trying to do the greatest of all time thing, but I'm trying to illustrate how challenging this is. Who could Omar Hakim not get hired by?
Yeah, I can't think of anybody.
Everybody would want him and pay him a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of people have wanted him from several different...
Yeah.
From all over the place.
Yeah.
People have wanted him and paid him a lot of money.
So that's what you're dealing with.
And he's continued to deliver.
Could he play Moby Dick?
Time after time. Sure.
Could you walk into the room with him and say, I want something like Moby Dick, but funkier?
Yeah.
It would come out. He can do that.
Right.
This is what it takes to be in that game. J.R. Robinson's in the same groove.
Yeah.
Does not matter what you ask of him. He may not give you what you want for this song, but that would be rare.
That would be rare.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you'd run into those situations where you might call somebody else because you have a specialty that you need taken care of.
And not that John Bonham couldn't do that, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Right. So it's hard for me to get over the barrier of, yes, Keith Moon was wonderful and is in a conversation, and I can't get too mad if he's your favorite, but let's understand.
Yeah. And you get to have a favorite.
Yeah.
Go ahead and have a favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite is Tony Thompson. Greatest drummer of all time? Yeah.
Right.
My favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is the conversation. You get to go back in and be like, well, prove it with Omar Hakim. All right.
Yeah.
Here's some grooves that he laid down.
Sure.
You know?
We'll start with Let's Dance.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at the acts. Bowie, Sting.
Yeah.
Madonna.
Yeah.
You know, you're not talking schlanzes here.
No. Weather Report.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you want to go deep and go, no, I mean, I need a technician. Okay. He was in Weather Report.
Right.
You know, he replaced Erskine in Weather Report.
Yeah. There you go.
So.
The guy that Peart went to for lessons.
Right.
So we're talking about, you know, it's fantastic to have these conversations.
It is. It's fun.
And looking at these album fights is fun because you do get into it. I remember when we did the Cult against Huey Lewis, right? And when you got down to it, the lyrics on the Cult were at the level that we're playing at. They weren't nearly as good.
Yeah.
Huey's they were clever. You know, it wasn't just about rocking and partying.
Yep.
Which is great for the Cult. But if you're in a fight and you keep raising the bar, at some point, Ian Astbury can't get over it because the voice is great, the tunes are great, but they start to run out of tricks. And you're like, oh my God, I never thought about the Cult Electric is awesome.
Yeah.
There's not a weak song on that album until you put it against a better album.
Well, you know, it's like a great boxer who's got a great 5 rounds.
Yeah.
You're terrific. But if we get into that 6th round, that 7th round, then you start to see, ooh, okay. Wow, for all that punching power, for all that speed.
Yes.
The lungs are smaller than the other guys. And that makes, when you get to the point where other things start to make a difference, that you do see the fissures.
Right. And you're being as critical as you can be when you listen to you compare the bass lines. Like, God, you know what? This bass line, nothing special going on here at the level that we're playing at. Yeah. And so this one, what's his name from Stuart Copeland's new band?
Mark King.
He'll take your regular passive, basic, great bass line, and he'll put his dick all over it.
He will. He'll rub it in.
You're like, oh, I'm going to play 3 notes every time you're playing one.
Yeah.
And it won't be complicated.
Yeah.
It'll be right.
It'll just be right.
And that's the kind of clarity you get at that level.
That's true. Did we discuss... Let's see. We talked about dream guest. I'll tell you who my dream guest is right now.
Yeah.
Russell Brand.
Oh, okay.
Really into that guy right now, man.
I reached out to Russell Brand.
Did you?
And I'm going to continue to do it.
He's very, very introspective in a way that in his drug-addled years, 10 years ago or whenever that was,
right,
you could never have anticipated. I mean, he was just so good looking and wild.
Right.
And in the midst of just fucking his way through the world and then sniffing cocaine off of the boobs of everyone he left in his wake or whatever. But he's turned out to instead be a very, I mean, he's always been very smart, but he's really thoughtful and actually really sweet on everything that I've seen him on. He's a sweet human being. And I'd really like to see what he has to say to us.
Well, when I put it out there, I said, you let me know where you're at in the UK. If you're not in the US, we'll come see you.
Yeah.
And there aren't many guests that I would say that to, but I would do that for Russell Brand.
Sure. He lives in Los Angeles.
Yeah, but
I know.
But he's in the UK all the time.
UK all the time. Yeah. I don't care also where he wants to do it.
Yeah.
That needs to get done.
Yeah, absolutely. There are certain guests that you do that for. And I don't know where the money comes from, but that happens because it needs to happen. Yeah. So Russell Brand, I would love to. That's actually Jay Moore's white whale as well.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow.
So it's even a stronger pull.
You know what? I wasn't there for the 200th episode, and I never have said how much I appreciate Jay Moore. So I want to say that to everybody because I've said it to him. But I want to say it to everybody. That guy has been comedic hero of mine since he was on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Even though he comparatively, and his own admission, was not the strongest that he's been on Saturday Night Live. Kind of fell out of that experience and kind of puttered out of it. But he has a unique take on stuff that I've always thought spoke to me. Mm-hmm. And to have him take our show and us kind of under his wing and to help us out the way that he has and to be so generous with his time and his endorsement and, has really been very, terrific. That's out of words.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been fantastic. He's continued to be in our corner, and I've thanked him, and I've thanked him publicly, but, I can't do enough to thank him enough. So I definitely thank you.
That's what I think about, is that when I think about here's the weird thing, and it's not that he would keep score. He doesn't give a shit.
Right, he does not.
But I think about what it would take for me to pay him back for what he's given to us and how he's allowed us to grow and nurtured us and helped us along.
Yeah.
What could I do? There's nothing I could do.
Nope. All you can really do is continue to do what you already do, and that's create the show, but also help others to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Put the work in, and if the both of us are helping people and do it like he's done it, where it's part of just who he is, then that's how you do it, because you can't pay him back directly.
Yeah.
He's just been too instrumental he's been too elemental.
Yep.
We couldn't do this show without Jay Moore.
Yeah.
That's just how
it's gotten to the point where a lot of the things that we look back on and think, yeah, right on, were either a direct or indirect result of him or his influence. So, thanks, Jay. Right on, man. When he came to Cobb's, I brought Max over there with me and Bill. And we went. It was somebody else. Who else went with us? It was me and Max and Bill and Pete.
Okay.
And we had a great time, hung out with him in the green room.
Yeah.
And, he's just being himself. I mean, his, I don't know. Anyway, thank you, Jay. That's all I can really say.
That's all you have to say.
Yeah. Who else?
Oh, dream guests? Okay, well, so this would be a dream guest, and this is not in the realm of possibility yet, but there's someone that you and I have discussed that if one project goes a certain way, we'll be staring at somebody he requires no context if he's sitting in the room. I'm not going to bother getting into it yet because it's probably not quite time yet, but it's as big. We haven't mentioned him in the show this episode, but there's someone as big as can be.
Yeah.
All you have to do is say their name, and pretty much anybody on the earth is going to know who it is. And so that's
pretty fucking big.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking big. And that, I don't think, is quite a 50-50 yet, but I say right now, today, as things sit, there's a 15% chance that we'll have him in the next 100 shows. With a lot of possibility for that number to grow quickly.
Yeah.
So we do have Alan Alda lined up.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and as long as things continue,
That's who I thought you were talking about.
Nope, this guy's bigger.
Wow.
Yeah, this guy's bigger.
I'll tell you where we've drawn the line. Porn stars.
Yeah, we have.
We haven't had porn stars on the show, and it's not because the opportunity has not arisen.
Right. Yeah. For me, I struggle with the exploitation that happens.
Yeah.
And I want to ask questions that I don't know that it benefits the audience to go to the place that I want to go to.
Yeah.
I don't know that it benefits me.
I don't know that it benefits the artist either.
Right. And
That's the thing I struggle with is I want to go right there. That's where I want to go.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that. And I don't know that I'm helping anybody.
Right.
The actor included.
Right. Yeah, it's a little.
How come Meryl Streep can be called an actor? But I was thinking about Sasha Grey, and I used the word actor, and I didn't feel like I was doing that right.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't talking about Randy West. Because if we have the chance to have Randy West on the show, we should have him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can get my head around that.
Yeah. That's something different.
Yeah, there's something different there. I'm going to tell you who I was talking about earlier, too, and we'll cut this part out of the show.
Fucking A.
So if we got him,
Yeah.
that's as big as you can be.
Yeah.
You can't really be bigger than that.
That's true.
I would rather...
That's big.
Yeah, that's big. And you understand why it's possible.
Sure.
So, but I would rather pursue opportunities like that as well.
Right.
In terms of contribution.
And at some point, if we do the wrong thing by the wrong person, we're never going to get somebody like that.
Yeah.
We're going to disqualify ourselves.
Well, there is that.
And so I, too, have never wanted to... it's not that I've thought about it that way, but I don't. I don't want to disqualify us from something because we went after somebody who had a career where they were exploited, and we talked about the exploitation in a way that really only just served to exploit them a little more. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather... I do enough crappy things without trying to do crappy things on purpose.
Yeah,
and try to be a better person, top to bottom. And
I didn't mean to agree with you doing crappy things so quickly. I do crappy things. Yes.
Yeah. No, but come on, we all make mistakes.
But, what I meant was I got my own laundry list of crappy things that I do all the time.
Yeah. So it would serve us better to do other things. So that's why I want to chase. Look, like one of the things I do believe is the people that. It's unfair to say prostitute themselves. People that promote themselves for the sake of promoting themselves to gain something from that fame. We know who those people are. And I'm not saying they'll never be on the show, but I would rather take the people that have achieved incredible things who don't get featured enough, like some of these Nobel Prize winners, and have them on the show at least as well, if not, more commonly, because they're the ones that are changing how we're actually going to live 20, 30 years from now.
Yeah.
And that to me is a richer story, a story that, how many times have we had someone who doesn't ever get the mic in front of them and you just hear him talk and it's like, you need the mic on all the time.
Yeah. Why aren't we hearing more of you in the universe?
Right. Right. So, when it comes to the stories that we don't always tell, there's a lot of that in there. Is this a story that I feel compelled to tell? And I feel compelled to tell the Nobel story over the porn star story.
Sure. Let's face it, if we have a porn star on the show, I don't know. I won't say it'll never happen.
Yeah.
But
you just said yes to Randy West.
Well, that's true. It'll have to be the right one. It'll have to be one who took command of his or her situation in a way that made that experience unique.
Yeah.
That's why Randy West, for me.
Okay.
Because he's found a way to not be ruined by it.
Yeah. At least we think.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't met him, but that's the impression I get from what I've seen of him in post-porn life.
Post-porn life.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good read.
I did have a brush with greatness in that I was on a street corner where a limousine pulled up and Brown Jeremy got out of it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool because he took advantage of the whole spectacle and we were all there enjoying and appreciating him.
And he cracked his little bad jokes and everything.
We didn't hear him talk. and then he went away. We just saw him visually. He was like Buster Keaton. He had these two chicks with him who were incredibly tall, like WNBA tall, and just the proverbial brick shit houses.
Right.
And they were wearing next to nothing, and it was in San Francisco at night, and it just looked like he was having an amazing time.
I want to ask you this. From the 200 guests that we've had on the show, who would you want to bring back right now? Like if we could have them sitting in the room with us.
Practically everybody, but there's one person I'd want to bring back more than anyone else, and that's Mick Gillette.
Yeah.
That almost made me fucking start crying.
You're making me almost cry.
I terribly regret the opportunity we missed. In that we met him when we did, and he committed to us that he would do a show with us once a month.
Yeah.
And he had enough stories to keep going until it wasn't funny anymore, and we knew it was going to keep being funny. So we said, yeah, let's do it. And we never got to doing it, and he passed away.
Yep. Yeah, I wrote something on LinkedIn last week in celebration of the 200th episode, and one of the things I put in there was that the thing I took from Mick Gillette was to not wait, to go ahead and push Mick, whoever that person will be in the future, and say, it's okay to go ahead and do this.
Yeah.
Because we can't get Percy Sledge. Would have loved to have had him. Can't get Jermaine Stewart. Would have loved to have had him.
Yeah.
Can't get Prince. Clearly, probably your dream guest, I would imagine. Yeah. If nothing else, Mick gave us that gift to know that. And I continue to realize that lesson. And I guess the audience should listen. Like my uncle, and I've talked about, because he paints. And I have a lot of passion for the arts in general. And I said, what do you think? He's like, I think you should paint because you don't want to wait. Here's what I did. I waited too long. I had a career, and I was working, and I absolutely could have painted around that. And I started too late. And I think that there's a lot of that in all of us. We all need to just go ahead and not wait and do that. And I'm not saying quit your job and,
Yeah, just don't wait.
Just don't wait. Start creating. It doesn't have to be writing. It can be picking up a guitar. It can be learning French. It can be whatever it is. But Mick wouldn't want us to wait. Now, that's the main thing.
That's true.
I'll take from that.
Thanks, Mick. And we can't mention Mick without mentioning his daughter, Megan, who's a friend and continues to be a light in the universe.
Yeah, for sure.
So, God damn, man, this shit made me well up. Wow. Okay. I will also say that we have a lot of people to thank who have perpetuated our ability to get more and more guests. You mentioned Peter Gabriel, so I can't wait to talk about the album with Jerry Marotta, who played on it.
Right.
He was the drummer on that monumental piece of music history. And we had Rick on, and he said, yeah, I'll get Jerry. Don't worry.
And Jerry, and there's a lot of these things where it's just a matter of following up. Here we go, trying to not listen to Mick, but
no kidding.
Follow him up there.
Oh, God, I got to call Rick tomorrow because we haven't, he said, I mean, one of the neat things to hear, too, from our guests is, and I know you've caught me asking this, now that you know what we do, who should be on this show?
Yeah.
And I've gotten answers from, when I asked him, he was like, oh, Steve Jordan.
Yeah.
Okay. Be on the show. Like, Steve Jordan. Wow. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Except right now he's on the road with John Mayer.
Yeah.
Being his musical director as well as the drummer. So he's a little bit busy, but, to hear from a guy like that say, oh, no, I know exactly who needs to be on this show.
Yeah.
And he said, my brother Jerry.
Yeah, for sure.
He should do this. He isn't.
We're in the game. Same thing with Taylor Hawkins. It hasn't worked out yet. But, we're going to get him.
I would say that Taylor Hawkins is the drummer in one of the biggest bands in the universe.
Yeah.
And how do you not have a story to tell that everybody wants to hear when you've been down that road?
I don't know.
Yeah. That's plenty.
Yeah.
There's plenty to do in the next 200 shows.
Plenty to do in the next 200. Plenty to be thankful for here in the holidays.
Yeah.
So much to look forward to. And
I'd like to get Michael Lewis.
Michael Lewis is, gosh, you're right. Yeah. I've tried a couple of times, but I need to try again.
Hell, I'd like to get Tabitha Soren.
Tabitha Soren would be great. And we'll have the both of them sitting side by side.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. I'm working on Rich Roll for you.
Oh, yeah, Rich Roll.
We'll get all these guys.
I'm fucking fat to be sitting across from Rich Roll.
Like, hey, Rich Roll, I'm so fat.
Jeez. That guy runs 100,000 miles every 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to shout out my brother. That motherfucker did 200 pull-ups in 20 minutes. And I'm thinking like, damn, I'm going to try to do 200 pull-ups between now and next Labor Day.
I was going to shout him out because he grew a Prussian mustache.
That shit was epic. He said goodbye to his mustache, and I said goodbye Inigo Montoya. Oh, yeah. That stash was something else, man.
That was a good stash. I was
He
glad he
fell out with the Tony Orlando.
Orlando. Yeah. So it's cool to be able to share these things, the last 200, the next 200, all the different opportunities that come out of that. I'm thankful for you, man.
Oh, thank you, Pete.
This is fun.
Yeah, this has been an amazing slice of life that we've had to experience, and there's nobody else that I could imagine having experienced this with, because
Likewise.
we have been in some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
We have found ourselves in situations where we could do nothing but just look at each other and go, kind of the opposite of or maybe the same as that moment where you're looking down at Wimbledon, looking over at your mom and going, I'm marrying a prince.
Yeah.
You know, it was sort of like that, except it was like, I got dog shit on my ankles.
Yeah.
Or God knows.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can think of a bunch of times. We have done a lot of crazy crap together, and it's one of the things that lets me know that we
And
can.
accepted it.
Yeah. No, yeah. I got crap on my ankles, and it's not time to wipe that off yet.
Yep.
Because we're in the middle of something else
It's
right now.
not time.
Right.
Oh, man. Yeah. Some of the things I look back and go, what in the hell?
Part of these situations lets us both know that if I'm not there, if you're not there, we know what to do because we've stayed up all hours trying to do things to get paid. Sometimes not getting paid, sometimes getting paid, but we've struggled and hustled and pushed. And that's how 200 shows get made. No one has made 200 shows and didn't have a moment where they thought, this just isn't worth doing. You know, or this shit's hard. It's easier to do something else. But any pursuit like this, like we're doing, you have to work this hard. You have to have this much fun.
People find out long before 200.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what's fucked up about it, is that some of those situations that we look back on and think that, like, what in the hell am I doing right here doing this?
Yeah.
And while we were doing it, as shitty as it was, or as fucked up as it was, we were like, yeah, I'll come back tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we kept doing it. And so it was bad sometimes, but it could never have been that bad.
Yeah. Jordan Harbinger, the guy from The Art of Charm, he calls them his post office days, where he's just like, it's easier to work at a post office. But you find a way through that day. You put up another show. You write another something else. You do whatever it is that you do, and you get through, and you enjoy the bigger things, because everybody can get caught up in minutia.
Oh, yeah.
But you keep going, and you keep enjoying, and you invest in things that bring you pleasure.
Yeah.
Much as possible.
That's true. In the spirit of bringing people pleasure, I hope everybody continues to have as much pleasure as they find in the show. I hope we continue to get feedback that allows us to deliver as much pleasure as we're capable of delivering for our listeners who we cherish, and who give us the opportunity to do all this fun shit that we like to do, meet new people, explore people who have achieved some admirable thing that we enjoy, or given us a piece of work that has shaped our life somehow.
Yeah.
And I hope we get to meet more and more of those people too, because my life has been enriched by meeting the people that we've had the good fortune to have entertained for a little while.
Having had the chance to listen to JR enables me to hear Off the Wall. It's given me the ability to enjoy that album so much more because I know the guy who played the songs.
Yeah.
And it's just, all of you guys should have that enriching feeling.
Sure.
You know, like this, because he's talking to all of us. And that's when we built this show, we wanted you to feel that way. We wanted you to feel like you're sitting in on a conversation that, wow, I can't believe I'm sitting in this conversation.
That is the thing that has remained the same throughout all of our episodes. That's the thread.
For sure.
Cool. Well, keep listening, everybody. Once again, if you like what you hear, please help us out. Go give us a 5-star rating. Give us a review on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen to content. Rate us wherever you can rate us. And if you love us, say so. And if you hate us,
say so.
Yeah, say so. Say so to us too. Give it to us. Give us feedback.
We can take it. Yeah. Believe me, we can take it.
Shit.
You wouldn't be the first person or the last person to tell us how much we suck.
Yeah. So yeah, you should do it. You should do everything. Whatever it is you're thinking you should do it.
Subscribe. Tell your friend to subscribe. And we appreciate you guys.
Hell, hijack that motherfucker's phone and subscribe for his dumb ass.
Yep, do it.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy everything to all you guys.
Yep.